This is Larry Frank. Frankly speaking, Titans. Want to thank all of you for tuning in, listening, watching this video. Please do me a favor before we get started. Go ahead and like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's not a difficult thing to do. All of our, material is free. So please, if you can do that for me, I would really appreciate it. We are coming to you live from Hopkinsville, Kentucky, about 7 miles outside of the Fort Campbell Army Base. As always, we want to thank all the men and women who previously and continue to serve our country and allow us to do what we like to do on a daily basis and have our freedom. You know, I said it last year, and I don't like being a "I told you so" person. But over and over again, how many times did you hear me on my show say, Will Levis is not Will Levis is not the problem, and Will Levis is not the problem. Over and over and over again, I had said that. And people wouldn't listen to me. Will Levis wasn't the problem. He was the scapegoat last year. That's right. He was the scapegoat. They needed somebody to blame besides the owner, besides Chad Brinker, besides the coach. So Will Levis took the brunt of the blame. He was not the problem. Actually, if you break down the 10 games that, what was it, 10 games, 12 games that Will Levis played last year versus the 10 games that Cam Ward has played this year, this is a better team with Will Levis at the helm. Now, I'm not saying Cam Ward isn't going to be a great quarterback, and I'm not saying that Will going to be a bad quarterback, but it doesn't matter right now who the heck is quarterbacking this team. You can take Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, anybody you want, and they would not be successful. And we'll go over that in a little bit. But when you look at the breakdown, Levis versus Ward, this team actually did better under Will Levis. Let's look at it, folks. Last year, Will Levis, completion percentage, 63.1%. Cam Ward, 58.4 this year. That's a 5% difference. And that's huge, folks. That's not really a small margin. That's a lot bigger than it looks, his numbers. Yards passing average, 6.9 yards a game, a pass, Will Levis average. The league average is anything, to be average is about 7 yards per pass. Cam Ward, 5.9 yards. 5.9, a whole yard difference. That's huge, too. Will Levis, in 12 games, had 13 touchdown passes. Cam Ward, in 10 games, 6 touchdown passes. He's had pretty much double the amount of touchdown passes that Cam Ward has. But he also had double the amount of interceptions, as he had 12 interceptions, Will Levis, to Cam Ward 6. Sacked 12 games last year. Will Levis sacked 41 times. We had a better offensive line, everyone says. 41 times in 10 games, Cam Ward has been sacked. How about rushes? This is the big area where Will Levis really takes the lead. Will Levis rushed 45 times to Cam Ward's 21. Now, there is a 2-game difference, like I said. So, let's be realistic here, but he's still not going to catch him. Rushes for first down. Last year in 12 games, Will Levis had 20 rushes for first down. Cam Ward only has 6. That's right, 6. He has rushed 21 times, believe it or not. It doesn't seem like it, but he has. And the big difference is that Will Levis fumbled the ball 5 times when he ran last year. Cam Ward only has fumbled once when he ran. We're not talking about when he drops back to pass. We're talking about when he actually runs the ball. So when you break it down, and some people will say, well, how about his first 9 games, which actually Will Levis, his first year under Vrabel, threw 8 touchdown passes and 4 interceptions. Still had a little bit less of a completion percentage, but I'll tell you what, that was with a decent coach. So what I did was I took his first year with Brian Callahan and Cam Ward's first year with Brian Callahan, same offense, same system. And let's not forget, Will Levis had two different offensive coordinators, and from last year, Cam Ward had a different one because he was in college. But it doesn't matter who the quarterback is because the big problem on this team has been the owner, Amy Adams Strunk. This team will never be successful until she moves her ass out of the way and allow football people to make football decisions. How many times have we spoken about this? Yet she still doesn't get it. She can't see the big picture. She has to be involved. That was the big disconnect between her and Vrabel, is that she wanted too much input. Vrabel didn't want to didn't want to trade A.J. Brown. We all know that. Amy Adams Strunk allowed it to happen. And I'm not going to lie to you. I wasn't sold on Cam. I didn't think much, I don't care what his statistics in college said. I watched Cam play. I knew some of the issues he was going to have. Holding onto the ball when he drops back. Having happy feet, which I guess Will Levis did too. But at the end of the day, it's not like I don't want him to do well. He's a Titans quarterback. I want to see him do well. I gain nothing by him failing. But at the end of the day, you have to, it's like when you build a house. You got to first have a foundation before you can build the house. And right now, there's no foundation, no structure, no culture, no nothing, cohesiveness on this team. There is nothing. It starts with the owner. Amy Adams, move your ass out of the way. Let's get football people in here that know how to make football decisions. Because obviously you don't. And then some people talk about the next coach. The next coach should not be one of these, nothing against young coaches, nothing at all. They need somebody else who has experience. And don't give me this bullshit that John Gruden or Rex Ryan haven't coached in however many years. They know how to win. Both of them know how to win, and both of them are coaches, and they hold people accountable. You don't need an easy, lazy going, wimpy type attitude, excuse the expression, that Brian Callahan brought over here. Look what Vrabel's doing now. Look at what Vrabel's doing now with the Patriots. He was always a good coach. But at the end of the day, it became a power struggle because Amy Adams had to have a foot in everything. Everything she had to be a part of, which she's the owner. She needs to know everything. But damn it, if you're going to make all the decisions, you don't need to hire people. Do it yourself. But at the end of the day, the best coaches that would be best suited for the Tennessee Titans would be John Gruden. I would go first, and I would even consider Rex Ryan. Those guys will bring fire. Listen, look at especially Gruden. He won a Super Bowl with Brad Johnson. Nothing against Brad Johnson, but he was an average quarterback. If you look at him, he had Rich Gannon, I believe it was, with the Raiders. He knows how to take quarterbacks and do well with them. He knows how to build a culture. He knows how to win. When all this mishap happened with the Raiders, with the emails being leaked, he was starting to turn this team around. Actually, Derek was having his best year under John Gruden. So, once again, you're not going to get a John Gruden. You're not going to get a Rex Ryan as long as Amy Adams doesn't move herself out of the way, because nobody's going to want to coach you. You let one of the better coaches in all of football today go. Is he the best? I'm not going to sit here and say that because he hasn't won anything yet. But look how he turned around. Look what Vrabel's doing now with Drake May. Look how much more successful Will Levis was under Vrabel than he was under Callahan. Okay? You brought in a guy who never, ever called a play in his NFL career, meaning Callahan, and look what happened. I mean, he failed, and it's going to continue to fail. You brought in Mike Boganzi. I like Mike Boganzi. I am a believer in Mike Boganzi. And the one thing I have always done well is I have always said and rated quarterbacks pretty well. People know me for that. I actually thought Drake May was the best quarterback in that draft, and people laughed at me. Now, he's not an all pro yet, but look at what he's doing. I like Will Levis. I think Will Levis is going to be a good quarterback somewhere. Cam Ward might be. Look what Malik Willis has done since he's left this dysfunctional organization and went to a good organization with a good coach, with good structure like Matt LaFleur. Okay? He had unbelievable games last year when he backed up Jordan Love when Love got hurt. Came in the other day. I think he was, don't quote me on this, but I think he was 2 for 2 with a touchdown pass. So Will Levis gets away from this garbage organization and shows you that if you put people in the right structure, the right culture, the right mindset, that they can be successful. Stop blaming Will Levis. It wasn't Will Levis. Okay? Will Levis was never, ever the problem. The problem has always been the owner, and it's going to continue to be the owner until A, she gets smart enough to get out of the way, or B, sells the team. This is Larry Frank. Frankly speaking, Titans.